Good evening, race fans. Welcome back to another installment of the Juicy Spider Elite Racing League Truck Series. Today takes us to the Monster Mile here in virtual Dover, Delaware for round 8 of the 2025 Juicy Spider Truck Series. Cody McCorkle took victory last week at Richmond. We'll see if he can replicate that feat again here at another short track, 1 mile long. Is the Monster Mile here at Dover Motor Speedway, a track that's not been used in the truck series since 2023. B. Latham Joyner won on that particular occasion. Qualifying has just wrapped up at this 1 mile speed. Well, we'll get into the starting grid shortly, but first, I'm William White. Alongside me in the production box is Jesse Rasimas, 2024 A Truck Series champion, and Matthew Weeks, our race controller from Pro Edge Racing. How you doing tonight?
Doing good. Ready to watch them racing at one of my favorite tracks to race at on the sim. This track is tricky and it's slick.
Grip will be at a premium for sure, and it is sure to create some entertaining and potentially carnage-filled racing here tonight here at Dover. Here's your starting grid, courtesy of Juicy Spider. JP Phillips, for the second race in a row, will start from pole position with a blistering 22.978. The only other driver to get a sub 23-second lap time tonight, Jay Connor for KOR, will start alongside in second. Johnny Thomas in the 83 will start in third place. KOR's Gavin Higgins will be in fourth, with Michael Harsack rounding out the top five. It's reigning Cup Series champion Justin Wadsworth in sixth, for Leighton Norgard in seventh, and Dylan Havere in eighth. Joe Francis, a past winner in the Truck Series, he will start in ninth, and 2019 Truck Series champion Chad Frankenfield will round out the top 10. Tommy Ryan for Unacceptable Racing is in 11th. South Shore Racing's David Westergreen, also part of the Elite Racing Network, will make up the top 12, Matthew.
Good to see David and Johnny qualify good. We got Neil Rutt 13th, Jeff Green rolling off 14th. Cody McCorkle, we know with the win last week, top 15 qualifying, that's good. Harrison Talion with a good qualifying 16th instead of starting in the back. Dusty Dewar 17th, Tom Bourne 18th, Austin and Abnett 19th, Frank Fody 20th, Andrew Harcastle 21st, Daniel Gore 22nd, Gerald Campbell 23rd, and Caleb rolling off 24th.
Just about to get going here. We'll quickly rattle off this last 12. Carl Hanshaw, Jeff Story, 25th and 26th. Sam Boutwell, Jeff Ryan, Jaden Rasimas, Ray Bracey, your top 30. David Carpenter, Mitch Havere, Patrick Hahey, Dave Huckleberry, Brent Jones, and Scotty Yancey are 31st through 36th. Connor Thompson, Ryan Campbell, Aaron Yancey, Rob Mooney are the 40 to set a lap time. Seth Rawls and Josh Osborne will bring up the rear. 42 trucks will take to the concrete here at Dover Motor Speedway. We are about to get going. Fred, the pace car driver, does pull off. He hands control of the field to JP Phillips for his second pole of the season. Can he convert this one into a race victory? Barney the flagman has the green flag in the air. Green flag, we are away here at Dover Motor Speedway, and it's a good start for JP Phillips, already nearly a truck length clear of Jay Connor. Gavin Higgins looking for a move on his teammate already. Fourth potentially to second for the 14-year-old from Pennsylvania. Gavin Higgins looking for the big moves early on here. Halfway through lap one, it's JP Phillips establishing an authoritative lead over the rest of the field, nearly half a second already. Justin Wadsworth already up to fourth. Johnny Thomas with a bit of a difficult start. He's down a couple of positions in the 83, but single file already throughout the top six. That's Chad Frankenfield on the inside of Mitch Havere. He's up 3 spots in 1 lap, Matthew.
Oh yeah, a lot of racing here in the midfield and some people moving up. I see Jeff Green rolling the bottom. It seems like the top 10 kind of singled out here, trying to, the best thing, save some tires, but this midfield is going to be crazy, trying to get some track position.
2 by 2 behind the top 10. You saw Harrison Talon there to the right hand side of your picture get a little bit loose off of turn 4. Manages to save it, but will drop towards 18th place for his troubles. Joe Francis manages to take 11th place away from Jeff Green there in P12, who will look again for a move to the inside of the 55. Cody McCorkle, we've mentioned him, last week's winner, to the inside of Tommy Ryan, looking for a move on the 66. No dice that time as the 11 of Neil Rutt now looks to the outside of the number 2 Design Ping Toyota, but I think they will soon single file out through turns 1 and 2, and that they do. Now they've settled in here with most of the field single file, save for Leighton Norgard looking to the inside of David Westergreen there into turn 3, potentially looking for P9 there, the past ARCA Series champion. I think this bodes well for potentially some more calm and collected racing, as there seems to be a lot of give and take out here tonight in the early stages, Mathieu.
Yeah, this is one of those tracks you really don't like being too wide, much less 3 wide. Here it's tight racing, and it's really tires come into play. Like they really burn here a lot if you overdrive it. So I see these guys trying to single file out, trying to save the tires, and really, catch these guys late on the long run.
Tire saving will definitely be a skill that will be put to the test at such an abrasive surface. Such is Dover Motor Speedway, one of only three tracks that uses a concrete surface. Obviously, Nashville Super Speedway and Bristol Motor Speedway, the only other tracks to use a concrete configuration out of the standard NASCAR tracks that Elite regularly goes to. Here's a fight further back in the field. This is your fight for 15th. It's the 11 of Neil Rutt, Tom Bourne and Daniel Gore as well. The 21 looking for P16 ahead of Tom Bourne, who is the current championship leader on points here. That's your fight for P16, and P17 Harrison Talon there potentially waiting in the wings for any carnage to befall either of these two, but Gore does get the position over Tom Bourne there, and up to 16th for the 21. Everything beginning to calm down in this opening sequence here. JP Phillips really storming off in the lead here, just 3/4 of a second between himself and Gavin Higgins, so we'll see whether Higgins has some tire left in the bank later on in this run. You see the way the gap fluctuates in different parts of the corner. Phillips really taking all that he can get on the entry of the corner. You may see it again going into turn number 3. Again, a few hundredths there gained for JP Phillips, but Higgins begins to reel him back in on the exit. We'll see how that plays out for either of those two drivers, but already 10% of the way in. The laps do tick off fast here. Mathieu, 25 seconds on average a lap here, or less. And if these boys behave themselves, we could be done here in less than an hour. So potentially a quick one tonight, as they've been very well behaved these first 10 laps in terms of strategy. Obviously these trucks can't quite go 100 laps on a full tank of fuel. If this goes green all the way, what kind of strategy could we be potentially looking at, Mathieu?
I would say your best bet is to probably split it in half, but some guys run it long. I think you can get maybe 75, 80 laps in fuel here, so you got a lot to play with right there from lap 50 to lap, 75 when you really run out of gas. So I can see some guys splitting the strategy. I can see some guys stretching it out and trying to save their tires for late and really push late in the run and not have to worry about saving tires. So it's a lot of mixed stuff that can happen.
Definitely a lot can happen when you have a lot of leeway in the strategy like that. You see a battle here between the 55 and the 66. That's Joe Francis on the top. Tommy Ryan there on the inside to the right hand side of your picture, and he gets way loose. Just about keeps it out of the safer barrier there, but he's going to lose half a dozen spots for his trouble. Tommy Ryan with a brilliant save out of turn 4, but he's going to go all the way back to about 16th place here. We're going to catch a replay here, courtesy of Robilis Photography, on board with the unacceptable driver here. Just a little bit too much gas, cranks it right, keeps it going, kept his foot in it pretty nicely there. And the 66 still running in this race, but he's got Tom Bourne for company right in front of him, right behind him even. And you mentioned how loose the car gets here, Mathieu, as the abrasive concrete surface really is tricky to conserve tyres on. And as we dig deeper into this green flag run here, drivers going to start to potentially feel the adverse effects of that more and more as those rear tyres begin to give way just that bit more through the run.
Yeah, especially when you're underneath the truck and you're really exiting the corner really low and have a lot of throttle in it. The rear just wants to come around. And I can say this, everyone that knows me in Elite that's raced me knows I'm a tire saver. This is the only track I've ever went to 0% on tires. That's how crazy it gets on the long run.
Definitely tests even the best, does Dover Motor Speedway. As yeah, 0% is possible. It won't shred your tire or blow it up as it would in the real world. iRacing doesn't quite simulate that, but still, you'll certainly feel it when that tire drops to 0%. I've done it before. You just kind of go straight on, and you become somewhat of a passenger as your car careens towards the outside retaining wall. But we're
It feels
already...
like a flat tire.
It definitely does feel like a flat tire. You get a meatball flag for your troubles, and you're forced to make your way down to pit road. But nearly a fifth of the way through this race, lap 18 of 100 it will be, as race leader JP Phillips crosses the line here. And he's still establishing a fairly solid lead. Gavin Higgins hasn't really reeled him in all that much in his opening fifth of the race. The gap has begun to stagnate somewhat between the 34 and the 20. JP Phillips definitely showing some good pace. Jay Connor as well, a further 3/4 of a second back from his teammate there in position number 3. See JP Phillips now 9/10 of a second. Is this potentially signs of Higgins struggling here? We saw him get a little bit loose and a bit close to the retaining wall off of turn number 4. The gap, as we work past, I believe that's Scott Yancey on the bottom side there in the 54, struggling to get into pit lane. The gap just expanding now to over a second here, nearly, for JP Phillips. Definitely showing his cards early, but Scott Yancey with a crumpled right front there. He will enter the pit lane here, and we'll see, does he have a meatball flag? Doesn't show on my iRacing that he does. As we have a caution, as we look at the replay of Scott Yancey. We'll come back to that in just a moment, and we see the replay knocks down the wall big time there, Mathieu. And again, I think he went into it again just as that replay cut off. The truck began to give out there. Is that sort of thing we'll see routinely here at Dover as we watch an incident here with Brent Jones? The truck just gets tight and you're a bit of a passenger. See again, kind of the opposite effect there. We saw Scott Yancey get tight, and that's Brent Jones getting mega loose there on the exit of turn 4. The 89 of Brent Jones does go around as we ride on board. You see the truck begin to give way in a couple moments here. There it goes. Oh, full opposite lock, trying to keep it down. You see he slammed on the brakes. That's why the rev limiter has dropped. No damage, no harm, no foul. No one else collected, but it does bring out the first caution of the evening on lap 21 of 100. And you see a stream of trucks traveling through the pit lane here as they will all look to service their virtual vehicles here. Got Yancey in the 54 with significant damage to his truck. He'll be there for a little while longer, you would imagine, as he does go off the lead lap. But now what is important is the race off pit road, as around a 14-second pit stop awaits these drivers, and we'll see who is the first past that green cone. You see just beside the General Tyre sponsorship. Solid stop there for Gavin Higgins, and I think he'll be out first. JP Phillips out first, not drawn, but Phillips out first, then Higgins, then Connor. So the top 3 remains the same. Justin Wadsworth a gainer, as well as Chad Frankenfield, both those drivers gaining through that particular pit stop cycle. But it will remain JP Phillips up at the front. You see everyone else begin to stream through the pits. And there is your verdict by race controller. Matthew Weeks' first tally of the night goes to the 89 of Abbott Motorsports' Brent Jones. A solo spin, didn't collect anyone, no damage to any cars, but as is formality, you bring out a caution, you get a tally. That will be the first of, well, hopefully no more tallies for Brent Jones. You get 2 tallies in an event. You are parked for the remainder of that event. But first caution of the night, as we hit the one to green, Matthew. It was a fairly innocuous yellow. No particular failure of give and take there. It was just a simple self-spin from Brent Jones. But could that potentially open the door for cautions, breeding cautions, as is the old adage, as it were?
Yeah, it always does, because everyone's trying to get what they can on these restarts, and now we're in the point to where you could possibly make it on fuel. So maybe give a little bit and save a little bit of fuel if you are close and you make it to the end. But yeah, a lot of guys are going to put some pressure on and get spots, especially now we're going to be going green with like 14 to go to the stage. So yeah,
the stage will end at lap 40 of 100, at which point points will be distributed to the top 10. There'll be 10 points for the stage winner and 1 point for 10th, with points distributed in between those positions. For the first time tonight, the leader will have control of the restart. Of course, the initial start is at the mercy of Barney, the flagman, but now as soon as they head into the restart zone, it is all on JP Phillips as to when he wants to hit the loud pedal and restart this race. He's led all 23 laps so far. If he can lead 77 more, he'll get his first win of the season. We are back green at Dover Motor Speedway, nearly a quarter of the way through the race, and it's a good restart from JP Phillips. Gavin Higgins in hot pursuit here. Jay Connor to the inside of his teammate. A role reversal from the initial start, but Higgins looks strong on the outside there. Big confidence in the truck there. He'll keep second place. Justin Wadsworth looking to capitalise here as Jay Connor, not particularly quick through turns 1 and 2. Struggling a bit there for confidence in the number 9 truck. Justin Wadsworth strong on the outside. Connor loose there, and Justin Wadsworth will take P3. Chad Frankenfield now looking for a spot for himself. Jay Connor struggling on the restart. Lacks confidence in the 9 truck, and we have a caution already. We mentioned cautions, breeding cautions, and there's an accident near the back of the pack. We'll catch a replay momentarily, but JP Phillips doing exactly what he needs on the restart, and we'll see the Robilus photography replay, and there is contact between Sam Boutwell and Josh Osborne there. A big impact into the inside retaining wall for Josh Osborne, and I think that was just a result of the 47 tracking up just a little bit too high off of turn number 4 and just hooking the 07 on the back straight. We're right on board with the 07 here. And yeah, going completely straight, and a big hit there for Josh Osborne. Pancakes the inside wall. You see the right rear and the right front crumpled in there on the 07. He will probably have to come down pit road to get that service. Definitely a contrast in terms of those run lengths. The first one went over 20 laps, that one a measly 2, as we will re-rack and restack for this next restart. JP Phillips does remain in the lead at the quarterway mark. Gavin Higgins is second, Justin Wadsworth third, Chad Frankenfield fourth for Little Eagle Racing. Jay Connor for KOR drops a couple of spots on the restart. He's down to 5th. Johnny Thomas in 6th. David Westergreen in 7th. Michael Harsack 8th. Jeff Green in 9th. And Dylan Javier cracking the top 10 for the first time tonight for Lake Norman Motorsports. We mentioned the abrasive surface here at Dover Motor Speedway. You see in the top corner there, the top right, 104 degrees Fahrenheit. That is the track temperature. That is how hot the track is to the touch. For the Brits watching, that's about 42, 43 degrees Celsius. So quite spicy out there on the track today. What that means is that the surface becomes not only more abrasive on this concrete surface, but also a lot more slippery, meaning that you'll be driving a far looser truck. Your right rear tire will wear quicker, grip will be less, and crashes may well be more. And lap 27 of 100 successive cautions here could bode for potentially carnage in our future here, but hopefully we'll see off the stage sooner rather than later. You see at the top of your screen, 1 lap to green. We saw the race control verdict just a minute ago. First tally was issued to the 47 of Sam Boutwell. That is his first tally of the evening for his contact with the 07 of Joshua Osborne. The lights are off on the iRacing.com pace car. They will bring us to our third restart here in this race, ending our second caution procession as we run behind the pace car. Hopefully we don't make too much of a habit of this, as commentary becomes quite difficult as everyone trundles around at a measly 55 miles per hour. Hopefully we'll see them with a bit more speed next time around, and that we don't have cautions breeding cautions. You see Gavin Higgins right on the door of JP Phillips, trying to play potentially some mind games of the 34, as we know sim racing is much a test of physical driving skill as it is of mental strength. Barney the flagman, you see there, has the green flag in his hand. JP Phillips has control of the restart, and we are back green again here at Dover Motor Speedway, and it's a good start from Gavin Higgins, who manages to actually hang on the outside of JP Phillips. Not the best restart from the 34, but he will get clear of the 20. Justin Wadsworth to the inside of Gavin Higgins. A good restart from the Lake Norman driver. He will potentially look to the inside of the 20. He'll file in though in third. Not quite the run out of turn 3 that he needed. Frankenfield and Connor still side by side, as they were when the caution came out before, as Trading Paints seems to want to try and convince me that everyone's truck is silver. It is not. Well, Jay Corner's got colours. He's got a big green number 9, but Trading Paints disagrees, Matthew.
Yeah, there's a couple of cars I see have their schemes. It's like it wants to load everyone else's.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I was kind of worried about Higgins there. He looked like he was ahead of JP pulling into the restart zone.
Definitely was taking every inch that he could, is Gavin Higgins, and he's really getting up to the back of JP Phillips. You see going into the corner, actually, I thought he's maybe trying to bump the 34 out of the way here. Big fishtail there from Higgins. He's big dive into the corner here. Well, not quite that time, but the last couple of corners, he has dove right to the bumper of the 34. Potentially some chrome horn coming out here. We are 9 to go in the stage, and there's a truck stopped to the bottom of the track. No yellow. That was a black and red truck. I'm gonna guess that's Jess Story, just a shot in the dark. We'll see if I'm right here on the instant replay. Josh Osborne, the other black and red truck in this race, struggling there into the outside wall, spins it round, 360, and trundles quite limply to the bottom of the track, but no yellow still, and he's stuck rather precariously as he does tow. Probably the best move there for Josh Osborne. So his night very much curtailed, but we remain green with 7 laps to go at the line for the stage. This is our fight for the stage victory. JP Phillips for Unacceptable Racing has KOR's Gavin Higgins right up his backside here as the 34 tries to hold off the 20. This is the closest these two have been all race long. We saw on the long run there, Matthew, that was about 20 laps long, where JP almost got a second out in front, but now the gap is 2 tenths between JP and Gavin here, and well, that battle was going on. It's now been called off for the next few laps as we have our third caution of the evening. I want to say that was Tommy Ryan facing the wrong way through
I
the
think
middle
it
of
was
turns
Seth.
3 and
He
4.
had damage on the rear, and I think it just made his truck really, really loose.
Oh yeah, I see no bumper cover on the 25, and that truck is not working with him. So I'm 0 for 2 on guessing the truck. It's the only other gold and black truck in this lobby. It's not Tommy Ryan, it is Shift Esports' Seth Rules. He does a little 3-point turn, gets that golden brew truck going again. And third caution of the evening, third of the stage, and well, this might set up potentially another caution immediately thereafter, as Matthew, we will be going to about 2 to go for the end of the stage here, with points being distributed at the end of lap 40. Are we going to potentially see some very, very rough racing as we come back green here after this particular caution period?
Yeah, I could see it. People trying to send it and get those points, and then they go back before that caution come out. You're talking about Osborne spinning on the front stretch. He was involved in something else where Seth got that damage on the front. So it's like Osborne spun twice in the lap because he was dodging that first one. So that's where Seth got the damage from. There was a big checkup going into one. But I can see a lot of guys really pushing the issue here to get those stage points, especially guys who are not looking really good in the playoff standings and want those extra points.
Yeah, we are beginning to get to the business end of proceedings. So you see the race control verdict, the tally for the first time tonight does go to the 25 of Seth Rules here on lap 36 of 100. But it's round number 8 of the season. Only 11 races, if I remember rightly, make up the regular season of the JUICYSPYDER Truck Series in the Elite Racing League. So you do not have much time to get your points now. So every point you get, if you're on that bubble, if you're around 14th place, the top 14 make the playoffs here in this series. This is where you have to force the issue, and where you really start to consider your own standing in the points and how much you're willing to risk it for potentially the difference maker in terms of making or missing the playoffs. We will end this caution period on this lap 37 of 100, which means we will have 3 laps to decide the winner of this stage. And if we have another caution before the stage, then that will simply decide the stage immediately, and we will not race for the stage win. We will rather trundle for it. But that's not what we want. Cautions are boring. I don't know about you lot, but I prefer racing at breakneck speeds at ridiculously banked ovals in ridiculously fast and ridiculously heavy trucks. So the pace car will pull off this time. JP Phillips will again have control of the field. Gavin Higgins looking to get the better restart out of the front row here, but Justin Wadsworth, Jay Connor, Chad Frankenfield, they are all in it to win it, in it to get stage points. Even the guys like Leighton Norgard, Tom Bourne, 9th and 10th, they're looking to not only protect the stage points that they already have, potentially looking to get 1 or 2 more to help their own playoff standing. We ride on board with JP Phillips. We're going to see him through the restart zone. We'll see exactly when he floors it. He sees at 45 miles an hour, steps on it now. You see up through the gears, into second, into third, and he's got a very good restart. You see behind him 0.2 of a second between him and Gavin Higgins, and that will set up potentially a stage win for JP Phillips. With Gavin Higgins closes right up in turns 1 and 2, and will Gavin Higgins look for a move into turn 3? Not this time. Bumper could potentially come out here. It's just a 1/10 of a second separates these two. The 20 right up the bumper of the 34 with 2 laps to go in this stage. Less than a 1/10 of a second separates our front 2 runners. Here comes Justin Wadsworth looking to enter the fray. JP Phillips just about holding on for now. A lap and a half to go here in stage number 1 here at Dover. There will be no yellow flag to end the stage. We will keep racing after the stage break. As the 34 comes around, white flag for the stage. We ride on board, looking back from the deck lid of the 34. Gavin Higgins closing in all the time. Smells the blood drop like a shark. Does the 20 Gavin Higgins, goes higher through 1 and 2, trying to get the run. Does it really work? Loses time through turns 1 and 2. JP Phillips just has to keep that truck going straight to get 10 stage points for his troubles, and he will do just that. JP Phillips will win stage 1 at Dover. Gavin Higgins 2nd. Justin Wadsworth will be 3rd. Jay Connor 4th. Chad Frankenfield 5th. Johnny Thomas in 6th. David Westergreen in 7th. Leighton Norgard in 8th, with Tom Bourne and Jeff Green rounding up the top 10 in the stage there. They will claim stage points, and we are now 60 laps to go. It's a straight fight to the flag here, Matthew Weeks. No more stage points on offer. It is now a fight to the checkered flag. And now that the stage is over and no more stage points are on offer, are we going to potentially see more scope for a green flag run now that we've ticked off a few here? Single file it looks like.
Yeah, I think so. Once the stage is over, everyone's going to calm down, you know, back it up, try to take care of their tires, and hopefully this goes long and, you know, get those guys off guard that drove hard the first, you know, then 3-4 laps. We went hard right there at the end of the stage.
It could definitely come back to bite you if you overdrive even just a tiny bit. Here comes Gerald Campbell, and last week's winner Cody McCorkle, as the 2-time Cup Series champion, makes a move on the design ping 2, and he is up a spot for his troubles. Next target for the 00 is the 57 of Dylan Havere. As a more dropping back here for Cody McCorkle. He loses another position to Neil Rutt there. The 11 manages to make the move there, but Cody McCorkle fighting back on the outside. We'll see if he can hold that position. Michael Harsack there for Covered Bridge Racing, trying to enter the fray here and capitalize on these two fighting. And just as we were talking about long green flag runs, it's lap 44 of 100, and caution number 4 has come out. We'll see whereabouts this incident has happened. It looks to have been further back in the pecking order. That is the 86 of Ryan Campbell and the 54 of Scotty Yancey, and they converge on the exit turn 4, and that is a big hit to the inside retaining wall for the 86 of Ryan Campbell, and his day looks to be all but done. The 86, I would say, very much out of this race. Will ride on board with Rycam Racing's Ryan Campbell, and that is a big impact. And you see the rev limiter there, that engine is destroyed. Done for the day is the 86 here. Oh no, it's still going. Well, I see a big puff of smoke come out of the front of that car just as we cut away from the Robotics Photography replay. But now here comes everyone to pit road. JP Phillips, Gavin Higgins, Justin Wadsworth, Jay Connor, Chad Frankenfield stays out, as does Johnny Thomas, as does David Westergreen, as does Jeff Green. Lots of green staying out for this yellow period. Daniel Gore stays out. Everyone else coming in. This looks like actually a fairly split strategy. This will make for some very interesting racing here. We'll see who wins the race off pit road out of everyone that has come down pit road this time. The 34 of JP Phillips pulls into his number 1 pit stall that he got courtesy of that pole position lap. We'll see who wins the race off of pit road. Pit road speed limit just 35 miles per hour, And Joe Francis is going to get ahead of JP Phillips and Gavin Higgins and a lot of people there. A good pit stop for the 55 team as he will restart in P19, which means 18 trucks all elected to stay out, Matthew. This could get potentially a little bit hairy as that is a very split strategy. A lot of trucks staying out and a lot of trucks pitting in on fresh tyres that will be looking to come through the field very, very quickly.
Yeah, the fresh tires are going to be flying here going around the older tires because, you know, they got like 20-something laps on the tires with the guys that stayed out. There was about a couple runs with 5 laps, so you've been through a couple of heat cycles. So I think it's sketch. I would have pitted, put tires on, and filled it up just to be safe.
Yeah, another thing, I don't know if when we're talking about fuel economy, whether, you know, you mentioned these guys have got 20 odd laps already on their tyres, they will have 20 odd laps as well on their fuel. Not sure if they're safe to the end yet, maybe banking on more cautions later in the race, where they can essentially flip it on its head, and then they'll have newer tyres, and potentially repay a net gain here. But as of right now, I don't like the call to stay out. I'm pretty sure everyone who has pitted will be safe on fuel. Only a 1 mile racetrack is Dover, 50 laps. I wouldn't think would be too taxing for these trucks in terms of longevity. But 18 drivers obviously disagree with myself and Matthew. So Chad Frankenfield will have control of the restart, has elected to take the outside lane. We haven't mentioned this much in the past couple of races, as Richmond is obviously just a short track. Inside line very much dominant, but the leader on the restart does have choice of which lane they prefer to restart in. And for the first time tonight, the leader has elected to choose the outside. Chad Frankenfield will restart on the high side here, as the 15 will have control of the restart when we enter the Geico restart zone just about now. As the green flag will come in, Chad Frankenfield steps on the loud pedal with a very, very good restart, but a big dollop of wheel spin. And he just about keeps it going. David Westergreen is going to get past Johnny Thomas there as he had a big tank slapper on. He's dropped 6 spots since the restart. Westergreen up to 2nd, Jeff Green up to 3rd, Daniel Gore up to 4th. Dylan Javier with a brilliant restart is up to 5th. Gerald Campbell and Neil Rutt, will fight for position number 6 here. And there is already a caution, and I must speculate it's near the back of the pack. I wonder if that's new tyres and old tyres potentially converging on one another. We'll see exactly who's involved in that incident. Leighton Norgard, Gavin Higgins and Rob Mooney, all 3 wide, and that's Wadsworth and Higgins all going around. Oh, and there's some big impacts here. Mooney hard into the wall, Tom Bourne hard into the wall here. Wadsworth again collected, Higgins with big damage. And it's just like I said, when the new tyres try to come through, they force those 3 wide moves, and potentially it's not too hospitable for drivers of different speeds in terms of their tyre wear. Justin Wadsworth, totally innocent bystander. Dave Huckleberry gets rear-ended. No, not Huck. Everyone loves Huck. But he's unfortunately been an innocent bystander there. I think the 84 potentially not giving the 20 and the 12 some room during that 3-wide encounter. Frank Foti, I saw, and Austin and Abnett. The Lake Norman repair bill skyrockets here. Frank Foti, or Tyler Foti rather, the team owner, will not be too chuffed about that. But Matthew, I do notice in our Discord channel we have a certain Seth Rules in the waiting room. We noticed he did have some calamities earlier in the running. I think we have a spare couple of minutes behind the safety car here as we reach the halfway point, lap 50. Seth Rules from Shift Esports joins Matthew Weeks in the commentary box as he claims his lucky dog. Seth, how are you doing?
Good. I want to explain the situation that I put myself in. So that wreck there, or the restart will pile up. I knocked the toe out of it. Spun out. My bad, Matthew, for bringing out a yellow. I then accidentally took tires, and took tires again. So I have no more tires for the rest of the race.
Oh no.
Oh.
You guys see me on 67 lap old tires.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's gonna be a rough night.
That is suboptimal.
Yes.
I must say.
But we're on the laps. That's fun.
Yeah. Well, there you go. At least you're on the lead lap. But now you have to hope for no more yellows. Otherwise, you're absolutely chalked.
Yep. Well, you guys have fun watching it, and it'll be a good one.
Absolutely. Well, we're on to green, so I'm going to chuck you back in the hellscape of the waiting room. Have fun for the rest of this race,
Adios.
Seth. Hopefully,
Bye.
no more yellows for you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So that was driver of the 25, Seth Rawls, encountering some issues, I think, to say the least, Mathieu, as Chad Frankenfield once again has control of the restart. I did notice, we were focusing on Daniel Gott, I did notice a cheeky British flag next to his name. I'm not the only one anymore. That's quite cool. And he's up in 4th. As we all know, the Brits are the best at driving, and he's proving it. He's up in P4. He's just got 3 more Yanks to overtake, and he'll be the 2nd British driver to win in Elite. We'll see. But Chad Frankenfield, David Westergreen, and Jeff Green, they are no slouches. They will not be easy to overtake. As Chad Frankenfield will have control of the restart as we enter the Geico restart zone to end our 5th caution of the night. As Chad Frankenfield will crawl into the restart zone. I really think they should increase the pace speed at this track. But Frankenfield with another good restart, 3/10 ahead of David Westergreen. Here comes Daniel Gore up already into 3rd place, potentially looking for 2nd on the outside there of David Westergreen. He does get past Jeff Green. Daniel Gore up into the podium spots, looking for his first podium in the Elite Racing League here. Potentially looking to the inside of Westergreen. Westergreen and Jeff Green, that won't get confusing at all when they're both up near the front. But Chad Frankenfield does lead by 1/10 of a second over South Shore's David Westergreen, with Daniel Gore in hot pursuit, with Gerald Campbell and Jeff Green in the 38 in hot pursuit. Here's your battle for 6th place. That's Johnny Thomas getting the best of Dylan Javier coming out of turn 2. Harrison Talon in the top 10 for the first time tonight, as is Jesse Rasimas and Neil Rutt here. They are fighting for P9. Cody McCorkle enters the fray as well. He's up into the top 10, as is Dusty Dewar, who started near the back.
The 3 truck, and I don't know.
Weeks.
Woo! The 3 truck, and I don't know who was around him. That was close.
Jeff Ryan with some bum clenching moments there. We'll see if we can catch a replay at any point here, but still the fight is going on towards the front of the field. Here we see the 89 of Brent Jones on the outside of the 3, and we see Jeff Ryan bleeding positions here. Oh, this looks shisty. We have a look here. He just dives in too deep into Kyle Hanshaw. Saves it into Jay Connor. Almost gets hit by Caleb Pacuma. Oh my word. And that truck is still put in the correct way. Hats off to the 3 of Jeff Ryan. Joe Francis won't be too happy. He got checked up right behind him. And he's now side by side with him, and he's now ahead of him. So Joe Francis dishing out some retribution there. He's back up into position number 27 here. But still, Chad Frankenfield does lead the way. Daniel Gore now looking for P2 ahead of David Westergreen. I'm not going to pretend like I'm not biased. I'd love for another British driver to win the race here. The 21 is up into 2nd place and is now making after Chad Frankenfield in the 15. Gerald Campbell now looks to get past the 09 David Westergreen. Westergreen not having a good lap there. He's down into 4th place, losing 2 spots in 2 corners there. He's down to P4 with Jeff Green potentially looking for another overtake. Harrison Talon here all over the back of Dylan Javier. He is up into 8th. That's a highest running position so far for the 51 DoorDash Toyota Tundra, as he gets a little fishtaily off of turn 4, but manages to keep it pointing the right way. Mathieu, about 8 laps in to this run here, and we look to be looking for a fairly clean green flag run. And I'll tell you what, Daniel Gore might be closing in on Chad Frankenfield ever so slightly. Look at the way the gap closes on corner exit down to just 2/10. He might get him, but Chad Frankenfield, possibly the most difficult car to pass out of this entire grid. If you look down the list of names, drivers like Jeff Green, Gerald Campbell, equally hard to pass. They've all won championships in their time. So Gerald Campbell showing some serious speed now as he looks sizing up the 21 of Daniel Gore, potentially trying to get 2nd place away from the Brit here through turns 1 and 2, lap 60 of 100 as they all lap Justin Wadsworth. We saw Wadsworth involved in that accident earlier in the race. He is now 1 lap down. Gerald Campbell, the big send into turn 3, clips the apron. That won't be too good for the balance of that 00. But 40 laps to go. Frankenfield beginning to pull away Matthew Weeks. Is this looking like a potentially a Chad victory here at Dover Motor Speedway?
It's a long way to go, and tires just got as passing the 10th place car right now, so I'll be worried. This is how I won Pocono against Chad. You know, he stayed out and I pitted late so I could have the fresher tires and the fuel to make it to the end, and it hit him in late in the race and ended up winning. This could potentially look like the same thing where, you know, a guy put on tires and chases everyone down and wins the race.
Definitely. Obviously, you were doing God's work there that weekend, Matthew. Breaking Chad's heart at his hometown track. Jaden Rasimas almost broke his right in front there on the outside retaining wall and lost a couple of spots for his troubles. Now ends up back in position number 16. But Chad Frankenfield doing quite well in that kick in the tyres. Number 15 Ford there. Exits turn number 2 with a 0.6 of a second lead over Daniel Gore and a second lead over the 00 of Gerald Campbell. He's just coming up to the 20 of Gavin Higgins, another front runner. You see the front left wheel arch, not a fender, it's a wheel arch, detached from that particular truck there, as he now also goes one lap down, another victim of circumstance in that last accident there. But Chad Frankenfield still pulling away. JP Phillips, though, is up to P9. He is someone you have to watch, as he is on far fresher tyres than everyone around him, and he has done by far the best job of getting through the pack here. Lap 65 of 100. JP Phillips now looking potentially to work his way past Harrison Talon here and look for position number 8. You see on the scoring pylon, those two now switch, and JP Phillips is up into 8th place. But yeah, it's got traffic ahead of him as drivers in front of him begin to jockey for position, all the while Chad Frankenfield praying potentially for a yellow to turn the strategy on its head and get the tyres that he needs to try and pull away from the rest of the pack. As you see the static cams showing just how close these drivers are getting to the outside wall here as they begin to push the limits here. But now 2/3 of the way through, here comes JP Phillips, 2 spots in 1 lap, don't mind if I do. He's up to 6th place and is now chasing down David Westergreen for P5. Matthew, I think JP beginning to show some serious speed here, but of course the pace differential will begin to even out somewhat as tyres begin to wear on the 34 as well.
Yeah, it will, but the good thing about it, you know, I think he's been taking care of his stuff while passing these guys. He hasn't been in a hurry. He hasn't been driving into the corner really hard. He's been taking his time, working through this traffic really well. And if I'm Chad, I'm worried, dude. He's about to go by Gerald and pass Jeff Green here going into 3. I think Chad needs to go as fast as he can and try to fill that gap as much as he can.
I would say Chad needs to get his backside moving it, and now, I would say, as JP Phillips now is past the 00 of Gerald Campbell, and just look at the grip he has compared to Jeff Green there.
Yeah, once he gets the clean air, he's going to be way faster.
He'll get past Jeff Green and will stop pumping in the lap times. You see just the grip difference as he flies past Jeff Green like he's standing still. He'll get the job done going into turn 3. Jeff Green has no impetus to fight that whatsoever. He's up into 3rd, and just make a mental note of that for everyone watching. 2.5 seconds between JP Phillips and Chad Frankenfield as of lap 70. I predict that number is going to come flying down in the next couple of laps, and just as I say that, through one corner he's gained a 10th. If that keeps tracking, he'll catch him in about 10 laps or so. So the ball very much in JP Phillips' court. We're focusing there on a couple of different trucks here, related Norgard, Caleb Bakuma, Cody McCorkle, Michael Harsack. These guys all fighting for positions in different parts of the field here. There's a Michael Harsack on the inside of Cody McCorkle, Jess Story as well, entering the fray here. Side-by-side racing, pretty much a constant at this track, at least at some point. Very rarely do you see the entire field single file, but this is your fight for P15 there, and Jess Story looks to win that particular scrap this time round. Cody McCorkle has the exit speed on the outside, but doesn't really want to try and cross over the 92 as it scrapes the outside wall there, potentially looking for a gap to the right rear of the 92, but no dice for Cody McCorkle as Joe Francis now works his way to the inside of the number 2. Michael Harsack now looks to get by Connor Thompson for P13. He'll get that move done quite easily. 3/4 of the way through, and JP Phillips has taken 1 entire second out of Chad Frankenfield. Chad has to step on it or find some rocket boosters, as JP Phillips is about to get past Daniel Gore, and from then on it's just Chad in his sights. And I think Chad is just... I don't see, for as good as Chad is, I don't see a way Frankenfield keeps JP Phillips behind for much longer than another 10 laps.
Yeah, I agree, and I know it's not a lot when I say this, but even 2 or 3% on your tires better than anyone is such a huge deal on the sim, and I'm sure with JP Phillips took those tires, you know, later under that caution, he has a good 4 or 5% more than these guys that stayed out, and it's just really playing a role right now.
Definitely, even the tiniest bit of tire differential, especially at a track like Dover where the fall off is really, really drastic. You see over the course of 10 laps you can lose potentially best part of a second, as the tire degradation, the performance fall off is massive here. And there's a caution, and that, I think, is answering Chad Frankenfield's prayers there. Everyone now, if they have a set of tires, will take a set of tires, and I think that will be everyone's last set, potentially. I'm unsure of exactly how many sets we have, but I'll tell you who won't need a new set of tyres. That's Jess Story and Johnny Thomas, both with massive impacts into the inside retaining wall, as Jess Story just gets into the left rear of Johnny Thomas coming off of turn 2, and big impacts for both those drivers. You'd have to say they might be out of the race. If not, they'll at least be spending a few laps getting their trucks serviced. Another overhead view here. Just Story just getting a little bit too close, potentially not anticipating the 83 being as close and as far off the outside wall, but the 92 does get into the left rear of the 83, sends them both into the inside barrier. And that, I think, is exactly what Chad Frankenfield needed to have a good chance of winning this race. JP Phillips will pit, Elliot Norgard will pit, everyone will pit, not a single driver has stayed out. Seth Rules has got no tyres left, so I'm curious as to what he's going to do here. He could pit so that he's not trying to lead the field with ancient tyres. That'd be the smart thing to do, and I think that's exactly what he's done. As Chad Frankenfield does win the race off pit road, Daniel Gore does get back past JP Phillips, so he's down to 3rd. Joe France is up to 4th as well with a big pit stop. Well, Tommy Ryan just pips Joe Francis there for 4th. Elliot Norgard up to 6th. Jeff Green up to P7. David Westergreen with less than ideal caution cycle. He's down to P9. Harrison Talon still remains in the top 10. So a good bit of jumbling between the top 10 there. But the old guard stands firm at the front. And it's Chad Frankenfield who's had his caution prayers answered there, you'd have to say, Matthew Weeks. And with about 20 odd laps to go when we come to the green, this caution now gives Chad the best chance that he realistically has of winning this race, and everyone is now on a level playing field when it comes to tyres as we are 1 to green here.
Yeah, that was the saving grace for Chad right there, and everyone got tires, so now it's really going to see who has the speed on these tires, who is really the fastest truck. You know, Chad qualified about 8th, 9th, right in there, so he's been in traffic. JP had to clean air for the first 50 laps and then had to drive through traffic, so we're about to see who really has the speed.
Definitely, and I think potentially this is a tactical decision from Chad Frankenfield. Ordinarily, the leader starts on the inside, which would give JP Phillips the impetus to go right up to the back of Chad Frankenfield and get right up his backside, we'll say, for the PG broadcast. But I think going to the outside might be good for Chad. It means he can essentially check up JP behind Daniel Gore, who is of course forced to react to when Chad Frankenfield chooses to go in the restart zone. But the 6th caution now ending. Green flag is out in the air. About to start waving courtesy of Barney the flag man. We'll have 22 laps to go in the Dover 100 here for the Juicy Spider Truck Series. We're getting to the business end of the regular season, getting to the business end of this race, and it's a good restart for Chad Frankenfield. Daniel Gore still in 2nd, JP Phillips in 3rd, Tommy Ryan on the outside of the 34, but Daniel Gore clear now. Is he trying to get to the back of Chad Frankenfield? Does he look for a move potentially into turn 3? The 21 Nismo truck, not this time, potentially, as the 21 still trying to get all he can. It's going to be a great exit for Daniel Gore off of turn number 4. Less than a 10th of a second separates them. Does he go for a move into turn 1? Not this time. Limited minutes though for these drivers to get the moves done that they need to get done here. Still, Daniel Gore pressuring Frankenfield all the time. Finally goes for the move to the inside. Still thinks better of it. A bit timid there, the 21, as he didn't quite want to send it too hard on Frankenfield just yet. But further back, David Westergreen trying to hold off the back behind him. Joe Francis and Dylan Javier side by side there for positions in the top 10. And there's a lead change as Frankenfield, I think, has gone spinning. He's tumbling down the order. And Daniel Gore's taking the lead. Frankenfield's in the wall there. A big crash, and he's come across Harrison Talon. And there's a caution out here. And I wonder, has there's been contact for the lead, or has Frankenfield just had the choke of the century? We'll see here on the Robiles photography replay. And Chad Frankenfield, I think, might have come down on Daniel Gore. Daniel Gore having none of it. Shoves Chad out of the way. Tommy Ryan gets into him. Oh, and that's big damage for Chad. We'll see. Does Chad give enough room? Blocks him. Daniel Gore still goes to his inside. He does track up a little.
The apron. He caught the apron and it shot him. Yeah.
We'll see what you rule on that, Matthew. As Chad comes right across Harrison. And Harrison Talon will be absolutely gutted there as another driver comes flying in there. But we are quickly going to go to a commercial break while Matthew Weeks handles race control duties. It's now Daniel Gore from the UK leading here in the Dover 100. We'll be right back with more action from the JUICYSPYDER Truck Series in just a minute. Don't go anywhere.
They walk among us, but at 240 miles per hour, they become something more. They're thrill seekers, risk takers, and maybe just a little bit unhinged. Buckle up. This new era of speed, this racing revolution, it's just getting started.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we are back here at Dover Motor Speedway for live coverage of round 8 of the 2025 JUICYSPYDER Truck Series in the Elite Racing League. It's the Dover 100 here from virtual Dover, Delaware. Contact between the leaders, Daniel Gore and Chad Frankenfield, has brought out our 7th caution of the evening. Frankenfield coming off worse in that occasion, and it's handed Daniel Gore the lead of this race, trying to become only the 2nd driver to win from the United Kingdom in the Elite NASCAR Series. I'm not entirely sure who the first one was, so the record book's a bit fuzzy on that one, but the tally does go to the 21 of Daniel Gore for that wreck, but he does inherit the lead. We'll see in 17 laps whether or not he cares that he kind of wrecked Chad for the lead, but 16 laps to go when we come to the green. Daniel Gore looking to make history for the UK here at the Dover 100. And we are back racing again, and it's a good start for Daniel Gore. He is clear of JP Phillips as JP Phillips and Leighton Norgard fight for 2nd and 3rd. Norgard a little bit tight through 1 and 2. Jeff Green looking to the inside quarter panel of the other motorsports driver, but it's Daniel Gore out to a quarter of a second lead ahead of JP Phillips and Leighton Norgard in P3. Jeff Green and Tommy Ryan are 4th and 5th. 15 laps to go. Daniel Gore still leads, potentially looking for his first win in the Elite Racing League. JP Phillips, though, beginning to close in, as is Leighton Norgard. You see Cody McCorkle and David Westergreen there fighting for P8. Westergreen a bit loose on the inside there, has to back out of it. Cody McCorkle does inherit that position there as they fight to try and get past Joe Francis in 7th. Neil Rutt on the outside of David Westergreen will also get that move done into P9 as Cody McCorkle now looks to the inside of Joe Francis for P7. We'll see if Francis has the grip and the impetus to fight that back. He does not. Cody McCorkle up to P7, looking potentially for a late charge to complement his win last week at Richmond. And there's a wreck further back. Good spot, Matthew Weeks. We have a caution for the 9th time tonight. 8th time tonight, almost correct. As with 13 laps to go, we will go back behind the safety car and we'll see, courtesy of the Robilus photo replay, exactly what happened. And I think it might have involved the 87 of Patrick Hahey. It did. Big stack up. Jeff Ryan in dodging it, drops it. Seth Rawls is in it as well. Big impact for the 25. And that is a fairly nasty one that's going to bring out the 8th caution of the evening. See, Patrick Hahey does get loose, hits the wall. Sam Boutwell nowhere to go. Dusty duo, the dodge of the century. Jeff Ryan in avoidance, drops it, collects Seth Rawls with a big impact, as emphasised by the stomach-churning groan from our race controller, Matthew Weeks, in the commentary box. As we ride on board.
Always a hard hit, too.
It is. In real life, that
you don't know it's coming, too. Bam! Oh, poor
Wow.
Seth, man. He's having a rough night tonight.
He's got no tyres now. He has no aero and probably no will to live at this point. Honestly, props to him for still going. I think if I was in the situation Seth is in, I'd throw £2,000 worth of computer out my university window. But with 12 laps to go, here is your current running order. Daniel Gore in the 21 from the United Kingdom does lead here at Dover. JP Phillips in 2nd. Leighton Norgard for Abba Motorsports is 3rd. Tommy Ryan for Unacceptable Racing, he's in 4th. Jeff Green is in 5th. Gerald Campbell is in 6th. Cody McCorkle is in 7th. Neil Rutt is in 8th. With Joe Francis and David Westergreen at 9th and 10th. That's your top 10 as we enter just short of 10 laps to go here at Dover Motor Speedway. As we saw already with the incident between Daniel Gore and Chad Frankenfield, everyone willing to push the limits as much as they physically can to get what they need out of this race. And with 10 to go coming out of 10 to go in this race, you'd have to say the envelope will be pushed all the more harder, and potentially we could see more carnage really anywhere in the field. We have to harken back again to the last time the Truck Series came here in 2023B. We had a massive accident on the last lap that started in around 2nd place, everyone getting what they can, as a replay of Brent Jones darting through the middle of Jeff Ryan and Sam Boutwell. Particularly impressive driving from the 89, as he has a tally from earlier in this race. He seems to have put that behind him, shows exactly what he can do behind the wheel of a virtual race car. But Daniel Gore elects to take the outside again on this restart with JP Phillips on his inside. He didn't quite get the win he wanted after getting pole at Richmond. He's only 1 spot away from correcting that here at Dover, but Daniel Gore, with 10 laps to go, will not give it up easily. He's willing to dive it in as hard as he can for any gap and any space, and we'll see if he will defend just as hard for that race win with 10 laps to go. Daniel Gore, JP Phillips, your front row. Tommy Ryan and Leighton Norgard waiting in the wings for anything to happen between these two. There are 10 laps to go at Dover. It's crunch time at the Concrete Monster Mile. Daniel Gore has control of the restart. And he hits it, and it's a good launch. Leighton Norgard gets a little bit snacked up behind the 34. It's a good restart for Daniel Gore, as Tommy Ryan and JP Phillips will be side by side, and it's an immediate yellow already. And that's honestly exactly what Daniel Gore needs. Less green laps, less time for the cars behind to overtake, but we'll see exactly what happened on that restart. And you'd have to imagine it might just be some restart silliness that the league might be prone to. Neil Rutt and David Westergreen, as you see that stack up. Oh, Jeff Green just drops it, Matthew, would you say?
Yeah, it looked like he got a little wheel spin there and just lost all traction right there and just went up. It's hard, especially on the old tires right here. It's hard to get a good restart.
Yeah. Oh, and they're still hitting each other. Bleeding now, lads. Just back it down. Car park on the front straight. Dover, as we know, very self-cleaning. Everyone begins to cascade to the inside as, yeah. In Lake Norman's Jeff Green, hiking up the repair bill for Tyler 30 all the more here. See Neil Rutt there facing the wrong way as well. Disappointment for everyone involved. You see the car park that awaits Jeff Green there. Sam Boutwell as well, pulling out in front of Jeff Green. Well, that's definitely not what you want to see on a restart, is drivers spinning it, but that is very likely to happen at somewhere like Dover. An abrasive, not very grippy racing surface when you're on worn tyres, especially tyres where the rear gets worn more than the fronts, prone to oversteer, prone to rear wheel spin on the restart where you put your foot to the floor and sometimes the truck will just get away from you. That is where the drivers have to learn to just modulate their throttle just a little bit. But we are 8 laps to go behind the safety car, and that crash up near the front of the field will have shaken up the pecking order somewhat. Your rundown is still leader Daniel Gore in the 21, JP Phillips is in second, the 66 of Tommy Ryan is in third, Leighton Norgard is in fourth, Gerald Campbell rounds up the top 5 in the 00 with David Westergreen in the 09 in P6, Michael Hossack in the number 24 is in P7, Cody McCorkle, last week's winner, is in P8. He's got some work to do if he wants to replicate that particular success. And 2 newbies to the top 10 in this race, the 55 of Joe Francis and the 59 of Caleb Pacuma. 8 laps to go. I believe we will get the 1 to green signal this time by, which means we will have 6 laps to go between now and the checkered flag. As the lights still remain on and flashing, we'll see if they disilluminate as we come across the stripe here on the front straight. Just in front of Daniel Gore here, looking to get his first win in the league. And there you go, lights off, 1 to green at the top of your screen, and Daniel Gore will elect to take the outside as the lights are back on. Delayed green flag. Matthew Weeks, get insight. Why has the green flag been delayed there?
That I do not know. I was checking an incident under submit that real quick, but I was checking an incident under caution where Dewar got in the back of somebody. Thinking someone stopped on the track. I'll go back and look at it here.
Jeff Ryan going particularly slowly at the top of the track here. Potentially that is what delayed the green flag.
Yeah, he stopped on the track still.
Yeah, so that would have essentially brought out a quasi caution, as it were, to essentially undo the starting of the race so that they don't come up on a crawling Jeff Ryan at full racing speed, and that would cause a whole heap of issues. So we'll be 1 to green next time by, which means we'll set up a 5-lap dash to the checkered flag. You saw the race control verdict there from Matthew Weeks. Weathers Halley went to the 38 of Jeff Green for that particular accident. Hard to argue against it from really any party. Jeff Ryan still crawling around the track as he lets the field by here. And that really is why we had a delayed green. Jeff Ryan still, as he's now letting the field, or he's passing the field now, confusing caution procedures here. But I think we are now starting to get it all figured out. Jeff Ryan should rejoin at the back of the field here. But Daniel Gore still in the lead after overtaking Chad Frankenfield. JP Phillips is in second as Leighton Norgard and Tommy Ryan. They switched places on the restart. Norgard with a less than ideal restart behind JP. He is now in fourth, presumably looking primarily to get back past Tommy Ryan and potentially look as well at JP Phillips, as he could potentially have a good run on the outside. He does have the luxury of being able to react to Daniel Gore directly in front of him, which means he won't have to check up for anyone, as he's only reacting to the car directly in front of him. 5 laps to go in the Dover 100. It is all to play for Daniel Gore, looking to become the 2nd British driver to win a stock car race in the league and the 3rd all-time. Of course, 2-time IndyCar Series champion Henry Bennett also came from our tiny little island, but he never drove a stock car, so he's not as cool as the rest of us. Daniel Gore does lead with 5 to go in the restart zone. He hammers the floor, or hammers the pedal to the floor, I should say, and it's not the best restart you see on the top left of your screen. Just a 1/10 of a second between Phillips and Gore. JP Phillips will look to the inside, not quite get there. Daniel Gore will lead through turns 1 and 2 and will get a decent gap through turns 1 and 2. David Westergreen up into the wall there. Leighton Norgard as well, struggling on the restart leg, can't quite get past. Tommy Ryan has now got Gerald Campbell for company on his inside as he looks past the 66 there of Tommy Ryan. 4 laps to go. JP Phillips hounding the 21 here into turn number 1. A fake to the inside from the 34. The 21 looks unfazed as they all lap. Now the 46 to Carl Hanshaw, briefly free wide there between the 00, the 12 and the 46. As the 12 and the 00 fight for that final spot in the top 5 there. Daniel Gore now just 3 laps away from his first win, and there's a caution for the 10th time tonight, and it's going to be overtime here at Dover. And there will be another green-white checkered for the 2nd consecutive race, and it's Jeff Ryan spinning on the exit of turn 2, hitting all hard and coming back up the track, and that is what brings out the yellow for the 10th time tonight. And that will set up a green-white checkered. Just a quick explanation of the green-white checkered rules as we watch Jeff Ryan's accident once more here. For green-white checkers, it is a 2-lap dash to the flag for if the race goes above regulation time. If a caution comes out in the first of those 2 laps, then we will re-rack and do it again with another 2-lap dash, further pushing the race past regulation time. That's why the ticket still says 3 to go, and it will continue to say 3 to go until we take the green flag. The caution cannot come out on the final lap when the white flag is displayed. Beyond that point, the race is official. It doesn't matter if someone drops ballistic missiles on the track, the caution will not wave, and we will race back to the flag. Just a reminder, you might have noticed me mention the track temperature earlier in the race, 104 Fahrenheit that was roughly. It's now 95 Fahrenheit, around 37 degrees Celsius, there or thereabouts. So still a very, very hot track, but not quite as hot as it has been. That will definitely increase the grip somewhat, although it's hard to say how much that will be offset by how warm these tyres are now, as these drivers are forced to say out. I don't believe they have any tyres left in the pits, so coming down pit road, not really an option. But Daniel Gore now does lead in this first green-white checkered here for what I'm going to colloquially call Dover time here, as the 21 does lead. JP Phillips in 2nd, Tommy Ryan in 3rd, Gerald Campbell in 4th, Leighton Norgard in 5th. Those two have swapped places. David Westergreen up to 6th, Michael Harsack in P7, Caleb Kummer in 8th, and another 2 newbies in the top 10 for the first time tonight. Dustin Dewar in the 32 now occupies P9, and the 30 of Connor Thompson-Gardner is in P10. You see the race control verdict there from Matthew Weeks. A tally to the 0-3 of Jeff Ryan for a solo self-spin here. This is the point where you have to absolutely nail the restart and take all that you can get. Daniel Gore's heart has to be beating through his chest at the minute, as should really everyone's, as they look to take every single millimetre out of this track and out of their competitors as well. They need to push each other as hard as they can to get as high up the field as they can and to put on a good show for all of us watching on board here, looking back from the 21 machine of Daniel Gore. He has control of the restart. He has elected to take the outside lane. JP Phillips on the inside. He'll enter the Geico restart zone very, very soon, will Daniel Gore, and he'll be able to step on it whenever he likes. We're coming to the green for the first green-white checker attempt, and Daniel Gore steps on it. Does just about get clear of JP Phillips down the straight here. Will JP Phillips look for a dive going into turn 1 and turn 2? He can't quite get to the inside of Daniel Gore as we ride on board with the 21. If they can get back to the white flag, this race is official, and Daniel Gore could be looking at his first ever Elite Racing League victory. They look clean down the back straight. JP Phillips looking for another dive going into turn 3 and 4. Can't quite make his stick. Gerald Campbell now entering the fray here. White flag in the air, final lap at Dover. Daniel Gore just 1 mile away from his first victory in the Elite Racing League. As JP Phillips can't quite get there, the gap continues to expand. Gerald Campbell almost goes around at the back of the pack there. Manages to save it, but he'll tumble down the pecking order. Through 3 and 4 for the final time. JP Phillips can't get there. For the first time in the Elite Racing League, Daniel Gore will win in the Truck Series. And he takes a historic victory here at Dover Motor Speedway. Only the 2nd driver in the United Kingdom ever to win a stock car race in the Elite Racing League. He does it in virtual Dover. for his first ever league victory. History made on the higher banks of the concrete Monster Mile. And that is a finish worthy of a very, very entertaining race there, Matthew Weeks, as Daniel
Oh,
Gore
yeah.
will do victory burnouts for the first time in his elite career.
And then Gerald got moved right there. He left a little gap, and Tommy took it. That's what happened to Gerald right there.
He got moved. That's what you got to do at these shorter tracks. If you get within a bumper's range on a green, white, checkered, you have full permission to use it. I don't know if any race control action will be taken. Typically, you call a clean bumper run. It's just, oh, he only loses the one spot. But Gerald Campbell, as you see on the race results here, tumbled all the way down to P8. But your full race results here from the Monster Mile 100 here at Dover Motor Speedway, round 8 of the 2025 Juicy Spider Truck Series. Daniel Gore wins for the United Kingdom by 0.225 seconds. Tommy Ryan there in third, JP Phillips splitting that particular pair. Leighton Norgard is in fourth, David Westergreen fifth, Caleb Pacuma in P6, Merkel Hossack in P7, Gerald Campbell in 8th, Connor Thompson in 9th, and Dustin Dewar in P10. Brent Jones comes back from an early race tally to finish 11th. Seth Rules was talking about how he was having an absolutely torrid night with no tyres at the halfway point. He's 12th. Joe Francis for Aggressive Eagle is 13th. Ray Bracey is 14th. Jaden Rasimas 15th. Dylan Javier in 16th. Cody McCorkle in 17th. Dave Huckleberry in 18th place. And as Daniel Gore pulls into victory lane, we'll look at the rest of your race results momentarily. 19th, David Carpenter. And 20th for Carl Hanshaw Racing. Carl Hanshaw. Sam Batwell is 21st. Jeff Green 22nd. Neil Rupp 23rd. And Aaron Yancey in 24th was the last car to finish on the lead lap. 25th, Patrick Hahey 1 lap down. Gavin Higgins and Justin Wadsworth 2 laps down. Jeff Ryan 6 laps down. And everyone from 29th on back failed to finish the race. That's Mitchell Javier, Harrison Talent, Tom Bourne, Chad Frankenfield, Frank Foti, Austin and Abnett, Jess Story, Johnny Thomas, Jay Connor, Rob Mooney, Scott Yancey, Ryan Campbell, Josh Osborne, and Andrew Hardcastle. That ends a blockbuster race here at the Monster Mile. We're going to take a quick break, I think. Wait for the top 3 to enter the waiting room. We've still got Daniel Gore on standby. We'll just wait for JP Phillips and Tommy Ryan. We'll be right back for post-race coverage of the Monster Mile 100 at Dover. We'll be right back soon. Don't go anywhere. And we are back for post-race coverage of the Monster Mile 100 round 8 of the 2025 Juicy Spider Truck Series. We're going to start with some post-race interviews. And joining us now, position number 3 for the 66 of Tommy Ryan. Tommy, a 2-3 for the team, a double podium, but not quite the spot that I'm sure either of you were hoping for. But how do you sum up your night as a whole, Tommy?
Well, the thing was really free center out once you got a few laps on it, and I didn't have a whole lot of confidence, but luckily I did a couple pit strategy things and got myself track position at the end of it. And I knew it would be a little bit of calamity at the end, which I was part of, but I'm pretty happy with top 5 here for sure.
Yeah, of course, that sets you up nicely for the remainder of the regular season. You've had a couple good results in the series so far. How do you look towards sort of the rest of your season, the rest of this regular season, and of course going into the playoff races?
I'm just going to try to, finish as well as I can and run a little bit cleaner than I can. But, some of these things were, a little bit maybe my fault, maybe not. But again, I got to apologize to Gerald. I don't, typically race like that. Try to race really clean and respectable. And I've definitely had my share of tallies in here. But yeah, I'm just going to try to finish well and finish respectfully. So I'll leave it at that.
And of course, a solid P3 result for yourself and of course your teammate JP up in second. Any sponsors or partners you want to thank for getting that 66 truck up onto the podium tonight?
Yeah, thanks for Juicy Spider. I know haven't my race shop hasn't got my right decals on the truck yet, but thanks to Juicy Spider, Northern Tool and Equipment, and JP's Hulk Fishing. So it's a lot of fun racing with those guys. We have good teamwork and work with each other to help good finishes like we had tonight.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations again on a solid P3 finish. We'll see if you can go two better in any of the races later this season. But thanks for your time.
All right, man. Thanks.
So that was third place Tommy Ryan. Now joining us, runner up by just 0.2 of a second, JP Phillips. Mentioned to Tommy a good result for both you and of course the rest of your team. Unacceptable with the double podium, but I'm sure you wish you could have just got one spot better. How do you sum up your night?
Yeah, I just needed some more laps, William. I think after we put that last set of tires on, it was just caution, restart after restart, and it was tough to get a really good jump on the restart. So I just needed some more laps. I thought I had a really good truck. We led a lot of laps, worked our way through the field with when we did get back there and got off strategy a little bit. So pretty excited. Just wish we'd had another good run there at the end to see if I had something for Daniel.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like you had that 20-lap run at the beginning of the race. We thought maybe up in the commentary box, we thought maybe it's going to be a bit more of a clean one, potentially even a green flag cycle, but that first one comes out and then you end up with 10 to finish the night. Does that, when you get those consecutive cautions and the field bunches up and you have these, single-digit lap runs, does it become more difficult to make up position? And is that potentially one of the main reasons why you had nothing really for Daniel at the end there, just not enough laps?
Yeah, just not enough laps. It's so hard to pass here. It was like the truck was crazy loose. So you really had to take your time and set up a pass and make sure you had a good run. And when you're only running 2 or 3 laps at a time, there was just no time to do anything. So really wish we would have had another run at the end. I think, like I said, I think I was really fast tonight, had a good truck, and I think I had something for him. Just got behind on track position. They had a little better strategy than I did. We about made it up through there. We got to third, and a couple more laps. I would have passed him and Chad too before the caution came out and we came and got those last set of tires. So just a couple of things that didn't go our way, but we'll come back and see if we can't get them next week.
Yeah, I was going to say with myself and Mathieu up in the commentary box, I looked for all the world there with that slightly longer run that you was going to blitz past Daniel and Chad and win by half a lap, but the cautions, as you say, playing against you there somewhat. Definitely not circumstance in your favour, but who do you want to thank for getting your 34 truck up to another solid result here with the podium here at Dover?
Yeah, want to thank Elite and Juicy Spider for sponsoring the league. It's a lot of fun running these trucks, and a shout out to Tommy and Jeff. We race a lot together. It's good to sit there and race with Tommy, and we can run together, and for us both to finish here on the podium, pretty awesome night.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations again on that runner-up spot. See if you can go one better later in the season, but congrats again, JP.
Thank you.
So that was runner-up JP Phillips. And now the man of the hour, first-time winner, the second winner ever from the UK in the Elite NASCAR Series, Daniel Gore, first win in Elite. How's that feel?
Oh man, it feels great. The level of competition here is insane. Like this, I ran a race here not too long ago. Another league qualified near the front. I run here, dude. Pretty much like what I felt was a good lap, and I'm down in the mid-20s. I'm like, oh, geez. And yeah, just to win in such a tight field that's awesome.
Yeah, you've definitely done it against some big names, but of course, as you mentioned, yeah, you came in from deep in the field. You qualified 22nd, a good 2.5 tenths off, but ultimately you're the first one across the stripe. How'd you manage to get your way up towards the front there?
It was mostly a strategy thing. I felt like I did have a bit better race pace than my quali pace showed. As in general, as a driver, I feel like that's a thing with me. But it was mainly the strategy. I was planning to split, if it went green all the way, I was planning to split it into thirds. So I didn't take that second set until that lap, I think it was the lap 70-ish caution, and I still had a set in the bag if I wanted it. So just a strategy that allows you to get track position, clean air, and yeah.
Well, definitely well executed from your end, Daniel. Anyone you want to thank for getting yourself that first ever Elite Racing League victory and potentially a few more on the way?
I would like to thank Mr. Cameron Rich and Aaron Evans. Cam usually spots me for these races, but he was unavailable the first half, so Aaron stepped in for me. He did a great job. Cam gave me some solid advice to get the truck where I really wanted it, and managed to pull it off.
Absolutely. Well, you're flying the flag high for our tiny little island in the middle of the Atlantic. So props to you. First ever win. Congratulations. And hopefully we'll see you in victory lane a few more times.
Thank you.
I do gotta ask this though.
Oh.
Okay, so you're from England, right?
Mm-hmm.
I see that it says you're from Carolina. Do you live in the U.S.?
Yes, I live in the U.S.
All right, so that's cool. I was confused when William was bringing it up through the race, and I went and checked and seen you was Carolina, and I was like, I don't know. I haven't heard you talk before. And then once I heard you talk, I'm like, yep.
Instantly
so that's cool
clicked.
Yep. It's cool that you moved over here, and it's cool, you know, you both British guys out here racing hard on the oval stuff, and you picking up a win, dude. That's cool.
The funniest thing about it, when I first moved here, I didn't understand NASCAR at first. I thought, oh, they're just driving in circles. How hard could it be? And then I went to my first race at Darlington, and I was hooked ever since.
Oh, well, at least you went to Darlington. That's my favorite track, dude. That's cool you went there.
Well, to be fair, you did beat a bunch of Americans, so turning left evidently can't be that hard, right?
It's a lot harder than I think. I race Cam every now and then, and I try to keep up with him, and then he proves to me just how hard it really is.
No,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Cam's good, man. I've raced him for a long time.
Absolutely. Well, besting some of the best on the oval scene in the Elite Racing League, never easy, but of course you done it, Daniel. So once again, thanks for your time. Congratulations on that very first win.
Thanks, guys.
So that was Daniel Gore there, all the way not from the UK. He's living in the Carolinas, but he's still flying the Union Jack high. Second winner ever from the UK. Just a reminder of your race results: Daniel Gore, JP Phillips, Tommy Ryan. Your top three are Leighton Norgard, David Westergreen, Caleb Kuhlman, Michael Hossack, Gerald Campbell, Connor Thompson, and Dusty Dewar. The top 10 final race thoughts from our race controller and analyst Matthew Weeks.
Good Dover race. Some hard racing. We've seen some people getting moved out of the way here and there. Big wrecks. It had it all, man. The Monster Mile really lived up to its name tonight.
I would say definitely Miles the Monster definitely chewed up some trucks tonight. He's had his fill, and so have we up in the commentary box, and hopefully everyone watching back at home has had their fill of brilliant racing action for a century elapsed around this concrete arena here at Dover. But that is all we have time for post-race coverage of round 8 of the 2025 Juicy Spider Truck Series. Next time out, we will be heading to... have a quick looky at the schedule. Be heading to Kansas for a full distance race, 134 laps at Kansas. That will definitely be a blockbuster and a real test of our drivers' mettle. So we'll see how our drivers fare in that particular race. But for now, that is all we have time for. From myself, William White, from Matthew Weeks and Jesse Rasimas up in the production box, from everyone at ERN. Have a good night. Hope you all sleep well if you're over in the UK. I know there are some British viewers out there. It's 2 a.m. over here, so I'm going to go and get some kip. And hopefully everyone else over in America has a safe rest of their night. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and goodbye.
They walk among us, but at 240 miles per hour, they become something more. They're thrill seekers, risk takers, and maybe just a little bit unhinged. Buckle up. This new era of speed, this racing revolution, it's just getting started.